at peace, stress free, let it be.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name's Ashley and today I am going to be challenging myself to sew my New Year's Eve dress in 24 hours. Honestly, I could have a little bit more than 24 hours, but 24 hours just is so like dramatic. We're gonna roll with it. Today is currently December 30th, 2020. It is one day before New Year's Eve and it is 3:45 p.m. Why do I need a New Year's Eve dress, you may ask? I'm not going anywhere. It's a pandemic still, so why do I need a New Year's Eve dress? Because I want to look pretty, honestly. I just want an excuse to look good. I want to go into the new year looking good, you know? And I want to take cute pictures, to be honest. But by the time I decided I wanted to do this, I didn't have time to order anything. I couldn't find anything on Depop or Poshmark that I liked. I really didn't want to go to the thrift store to look for something. So yeah, we're gonna make it. I went to the fabric store yesterday and got this fabric, if you can see there. So cute, right? So that's what we're gonna be making it out of. There is an I.AM.GIA dress that I'm gonna be using as inspiration. I'll insert it here. And I kind of want to make it look like that, but with that fabric, you know? Honestly, most of my sewing projects I do within a day, but for some reason I feel like this is going to be really hard, so I think that this is going to be like a challenge for me. Also, considering the fact that I have only sewn like one other dress and it came out like eh. So hopefully this turns out really well. If you want to see how it turns out, keep watching, come along on this ride with me, and if you like it, be sure to give me a thumbs up down below and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this from me. All right, we have 24 hours starting now. Let's get started. If you've seen my other sewing videos, you would know that I'm not a huge fan of patterns, so I'm using this dress as kind of like to figure out the shape of the dress because it's pretty tight on me. And then I'm just measuring from my shoulder down to the length that I want the dress, and also from under my armpit down to the length that I want the dress, because it is going to be a one shoulder dress. Then I'm laying it out and measuring from the top and down to, I'm using the bottom of the fabric as kind of my length, and I'm pinning where the top of the dress is going to be. And I also got this tank top that has a thicker strap just to kind of give me the shape of the strap, because I do want the strap to be like thicker on the dress. And I pinned all the way down and I'm cutting it out. Then I'm going to cut out the other side so I have a front and a back. Then I'm going to remove all of the pins and lay the fabric with the two wrong sides together so I can see the front and the back, obviously. And then I'm pinning those together so that the fabric doesn't like slip. And I'm taking this one shoulder shirt that I have. It's a little bit smaller than the dress, but I just need like the general shape of the one strap. So I'm putting it along the neckline where I would be cutting it. And I'm cutting it with about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then I flipped the right sides of the fabric together and pinned along the side with about a 1/2 inch seam allowance, because that was where I was going to sew it, but it looked a little bit too big, so I end up going back and fixing that later on. But I did fold over the hem along the neckline and also on the armhole on both sides. I folded it over about a 1/4 inch and pinned all along it. I didn't need to double fold it because this fabric doesn't fray, so just one fold would suffice. And then I went and got my mannequin that is actually my exact body shape, because I can like change it. And I wanted this dress to fit tight, so what I did was I put it on the mannequin on the wrong side facing forward so that I could pin it and then sew it after. And I'm just pinning it exactly to my body shape so that it's super tight. And then I am going over the hems on the neckline and the armhole just with a simple straight stitch. Yeah, that's what I'm doing, sewing in a straight stitch. And then I'm cutting all of the strings off, and that's what it looks like, just folded over once. And I think it looks good because the fabric is a little thicker, so it's not too bulky, because I only folded it over once. I think if I folded it over twice, it would have been really bulky. Then I'm just using a zigzag stitch and folding all the way down those sides that I like took in to fit my body. I used the zigzag stitch because I wanted it to stay stretchy, but I actually tried it on and it was still a little bit too baggy, so I pinned it where it needed to be pinned. And as you can see, I'm making another line inside of the line that I had previously sewn. So that's how it fits really tight to my body, exactly how I wanted it. And as you can see, there's the line. The inside line is the second one that I made to fit my body better. So now I'm just cutting off all that excess fabric so that it's not all bulky. And now I'm going to pin where I want to cut the circle on the side. So I just took underneath of my boob and then on top of my like hip bone. And I also pinned along the diagonal where I'm going to be cutting it at the bottom. I probably should have used like a guide for this or something, but I just kind of generally cut like a half circle so that it would go through the front and back, and also cut the diagonal, which I did make a little bit too deep, but that's fine. And then here we are on the next day. So I'm just using a straight stitch to sew about a 1/4 inch to make like a little tube around the circle. So I was going like really close to the edge of that 1/4 inch. And then I measured around the circle so that I knew how long of a string I would need to cut that's gonna go inside of it. I cut it about 2 inches wide, but honestly I could have made it about 1 inch wide. And then I folded it like this. I folded one side, then the other side, and then sandwiched that in half to make the string, and I just pinned that going all the way down. Admittedly, this did end up being a little bit too thick for the tube that I left, but it's fine. It makes it like really structured, honestly, and it was just a little bit hard to get through, as you'll see later on. While I was down on the ground cutting things, I figured I might as well also cut the ruffle that was going to be at the bottom, but I didn't know how to do it and like what measurements to do, so I actually had to watch a YouTube video. The video I watched was how to gather fabric, and that's not what I needed to do for this ruffle, but anyways, here's just a little tutorial on how to gather fabric, I guess. So I'm pretty sure I was supposed to take about double my waist measurement, which looking back on this I actually didn't, but gathering uses a lot of fabric, so I think I was supposed to. But anyways, I made it about 6 inches wide. Then I did a 1/4 inch hem at the bottom, which I didn't need to do because again this fabric doesn't fray. Then I took a straight stitch down that like string that I had made earlier. So this is how it came out, super cute. Yes, it's a string. And then I started gathering the ruffle, which I was eventually going to make it into a flared ruffle, but I will show you how I did that later. So the gathered ruffle, I did the longest straight stitch that my machine could do, which I think was like a 5, and it starts gathering by itself, but you do need to do it manually. So you pull the bobbin thread only, and you start gathering it, but you can't pull it too hard because then this happens, and it happened like 3 times. So I had to redo it a bunch of times, but this was the final product and I was so proud of myself. So I actually started pinning it to the bottom of the dress. And it ended up coming out so extremely ruffly, like embarrassingly ruffly, like a dress from the 80s kind of ruffly, and that was just not the look that I was going for. So the gathered ruffle was just not it, and at this point I was like so incredibly stressed out because it was almost time. I mean, my 24 hours was almost up because I slept for too long. Yeah, so I undid the ruffle and I tried to make it not as like gathered together, and then I ended up sewing it to the dress because I was like, you know what, this is as good as it's gonna get. But what I didn't take into account is that you shouldn't use the ruffle with the straight stitch because you can't stretch the dress because it has the straight stitch. So you do need to use a zigzag stitch when you sew the flared ruffle. But anyways, I used this safety pin and hooked it onto that string that I previously made before I did all of that gathering. And I just threaded that through the little circle that I made. I also had to cut 2 holes, obviously, so that the string could go in and out. And that is what it looks like. And now I have a little bungee thing. I don't know what that's called. You know what I mean? A bungee thing. And then I'm just going to use a straight stitch to like fold off these ends and make them all nice. Okay, hey, it's me from the future. I was just editing this and realized that all of the footage that I took on how I actually did the ruffle, I have all this footage of me gathering it and no footage of how I actually did the ruffle because my camera just didn't record it. I don't know why. So I just thought that I would show you really quickly how I did it on my iPad because I'm not gonna use fabric for it. So what I did, I laid my fabric flat, right? And then I had my waist measurement. So let's say my waist measurement was 38 inches, which I'm pretty sure it was. Don't cut it yet. Just wait. Okay, so you have one circle. That's your waist measurement, right? A circle. Let's do 38 inches waist. Can you see? Sorry, there's a glare. I'm also editing currently. So here is your waist measurement, right? Okay, and then I wanted my ruffle to be 6 inches long, so that would give me about a 1/2 inch for the seam allowance, and then the rest, the 5.5 inches, would be what was like dangling, and I didn't need to hem it because again, this fabric doesn't fray. So I'm gonna go out 6 inches. Let's just say that that's 6 inches, right? So we're gonna go out 6 inches, and we have another circle that is 6 inches. I know it's not exactly perfect, but just pretend it is. But basically you just want to make sure that it measures 6 inches all around so that you have 2 perfect circles. Or if you have a thing to trace circles this large, you do you. If you wanted to do some more math too, you could also fold it in half and, you know, do like the radius. I didn't do that well in geometry. and do like the radius of that and then 6 inches out from that. Probably, but that's not how I did it. I did it laying flat with I cut 2 circles. And then this next step you don't have to do, but I did it just in case it ended up being like too big for whatever reason. So I just cut a line down it, and what that's gonna do is it's gonna make it like ruffly without being like gathered so much and like embarrassingly ruffly. It's just like a subtle ruffle, you know? I think it's called a flared ruffle, I'm pretty sure. Because then your fabric is gonna look like this. So you have that, and then it has some ruffles because it's supposed to be in a circle and it's not because it's like that. And then what you do, so you have your dress, right? And this is like your side seam right here. This is your side seam. You're gonna match up one side of the ruffle. You're gonna go all the way around the dress, like pinning it. And then you're gonna make your other side seam there so that your side seams line up, obviously. And then it's gonna look like this. I know, I'm a really good artist. So hopefully I explained that well. I'm really sorry that the footage is just like not on my camera. I'm not sure what happened, but hopefully I could explain that kind of well. If you do need to learn how to do a flared ruffle, there are other videos telling how to do it, but basically I just made a flared ruffle for the bottom of my dress instead of a gathered ruffle. There you go. 3:46. I finished it. I did it. Yay. I'm just gonna try it on and then like maybe end up cutting some of the length because it looks like it's gonna be a little too long, but I'm not entirely sure. But it's pretty much done. I pretty much did it in 24 hours. A lot less than 24 hours because I actually slept a lot. But I'm not gonna show you yet. I will show you tonight for the new year when I am all ready. I'm so excited that I finished it, but I will see you all tonight to show you. So here is the dress that I made, all finished. I fixed the bottom ruffle a little bit because it was like weird, and then I washed it, and now I have it on because it's New Year's. So you're gonna be seeing this after New Year's, but I made a New Year's video. But like, happy 2021, you know, we're here, we made it. And yeah, so this is my dress. It's a little short, but that's okay, I like it. Pull it down a little bit. And I think it came out so cute. I love this. I wasn't sure how this was gonna look when I was doing it, but I think it came out so nice. And honestly, I think it looks exactly like the picture, obviously like a different color, but like the design, I think it looks exactly like the picture. Honestly, I think this is one of the best things that I have made so far. I'm really proud of myself. I'm gonna brag a little bit. Yes, I did a great job. So I'm gonna go back to celebrating the new year in my super cute new dress that I made in 24 hours. But I just wanted to finish off this video while I'm wearing it and looking cute, because that's the whole reason I made the dress anyway, was to look cute. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial thing, I guess, slash like challenge. Hopefully it was helpful or at least like entertaining. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up down below. If you want to see more videos like it, make sure you subscribe. And thank you all so much again for watching. I will see you all next week in my next video. Bye.